Hello, good evening all of you. I am Nahid Fatma. Okay, I am a biology meat educator. Next, in a previous lecture, we complete the excretory system and their excretory product and their elimination. Okay, today I explain you the body fluid and circulation. Okay, and in a circulation to this chapter also in a NEET they ask 2 to 3 question, but in a 2025 they change the criteria, they ask only the one question, but every year they ask 2 to 3 question in a NEET. So in a body fluid and circulation we study, so first we study about the circulation. Okay, so first we study about the which thing? Circulation. So circulation means, particularly if you say in a higher animals, special circulatory fluid is present. If you remember in a kingdom Animalia also we study about the circulatory system, like in a phylum Arthropoda, phylum Annelida, phylum Mollusca, and even in a chordates also we study the circulatory system also. So in a higher animal the special type of circulatory fluid is present. Fluid in the two main type of the fluid is present. One is known as the blood, second one is known as the lymph. If you remember in a class 10th also you study the particularly life process, you study the circulation. So blood and lymph also you study. So in a higher animal, two type of the special circulatory fluid is present. Okay, then we take the example of our body. In our body also blood is present. Okay, in our body lymph is also present, and both perform specific function in our body. Okay, the special fluid circulatory, there are two types. One is known as the blood, second one is known as the lymph. Okay, now before starting the circulatory system, first we study the type of the circulatory system in whole living organism. It means in an invertebrate or in a vertebrate. So two type of the blood circulatory system present in animal. How many types of the circulatory system? Two types of blood circulatory system present in living organism. First one is known as the open circulation, and the second type is known as the closed circulation. And these open circulation and the closed circulation word we also study in kingdom Animalia. If you remember in a kingdom Animalia, phylum Arthropoda, we study about the open circulatory system is present. Open circulatory system means the blood flow in a body cavity. It means no particularly vascular system is present. It means the blood vascular system is not present. So first we write the open circulation present in a which phylum? Phylum Arthropoda. Even in a phylum Arthropoda in a kingdom Animalia also we study Arthropoda is the largest phylum in a whole kingdom. Okay, so in a open circulation is present in a which particularly phylum? Arthropoda, and closed circulation present in all vertebrates. Okay, in a all vertebrate. All vertebrates means they have the notochord, it means the vertebral column is present, they have the closed circulatory system is present. Second, in a some invertebrates also the closed circulatory system is present. Okay, the first example of the closed circulatory system in invertebrates organism, it is known as the annelids, and second one is known as the mollusca. Okay, so open circulatory present in a which phylum? Phylum Arthropoda. Closed circulation present in a which phylum? In all vertebrates. In a invertebrates. In a invertebrate the which phylum? Annelids and the mollusca. If you remember in a mollusca also we study, mollusca is the second largest phylum in a whole animal kingdom. Okay, the next one. In a open circulation, blood flow in body body cavity. Blood flow in where? Body cavity. And this body cavity is known as the hemocoel cavity. It is known as the which cavity? Hemocoel cavity. And this hemocoel cavity also we study in a phylum Arthropoda, and even the PYQ's question is also given. Okay, so open circulatory phylum Arthropoda. In an open circulation, blood flow in body cavity. Body cavity means, for example, here this is the any organ is present. Around this the cavity is present. So blood flow between the cavity. No blood vascular system present in open circulation. And this body cavity is known as the which cavity? Hemocoel cavity. Remember this word, hemocoel cavity. Okay. The second one we study now. In this portion we compare the closed and the open circulatory system. In a closed circulatory system, blood flow in blood vessels. Blood flow in blood. For example, we take our body example. So in our body, blood is present. Which type of the circulatory system? Closed circulatory system is present. Okay, we include in vertebrates also. And in our body, blood flow in a blood vessel. See here the vein is present. This is the type of the blood vessel. So blood flow in the blood vessels. Okay, next one. Now in an open circulation system, the particularly blood flow in low pressure. Blood flow in the low pressure. Okay, then next one, in a closed circulation, the blood flow in a high pressure. Blood flow in high pressure. Okay, that's why when if particularly we identify all the pulse rate toward the radial artery, it is present here. Okay, so this is the blood flow here in a high pressure, it is present. In case of the open circulatory system, blood do not contain any respiratory pigment. Okay, in a which circulation, this is also the important. Blood do not contain any respiratory pigment. In a which type of the circulation? Open circulation. Second one is in a closed circulation. So in a closed circulation, we take the our body example. So in our body we study, in our body respiratory pigment is present. And what is the name of the respiratory pigment? Yes, hemoglobin is present. So in a closed circulation, the respiratory pigment is present. And the name of the respiratory pigment is hemoglobin is present. Okay. So this is happen in a closed circulatory system. Remember the one thing. In a vertebrate, hemoglobin is present. But in a phylum Arthropoda, we study in a mollusca, hemocyanin pigment is present. Hemoglobin have the iron containing pigment. Hemo in a mollusca organism particularly, which pigment is present? Hemocyanin pigment is present. And hemocyanin pigment have the copper metal is present. That's why in a mollusca organism, blue color blood is present. So in a animal kingdom also we study. Okay. So in a mollusca, which respiratory pigment is present? Hemocyanin. In a hemocyanin, they give the blue color to the blood. Why? Because they have the copper pigment is present. This is a part of the closed circulation. The next one we study particularly exchange of here. In an open circulatory system, exchange of material occurs directly between blood and cells and or tissue. Okay. Why did this happen directly? Because what happened in a respiratory, see, open circulation we study blood flow in the body cavity. It means this is the organ. Heart is present. Then here the organ is present. Particularly here the heart is present. Here the lungs is present. Other system is present. So blood flow in between the cavity. So directly organ contact with the blood. So that's why exchange of material takes place between directly to the body fluid and the cell or the tissue. But in case of the closed circulation, what happened here? The exchange of material. The exchange of material occurs between intercellular fluid, and this intercellular fluid is known as the lymph. Okay, which material is present? Lymph is present. They help in a exchange of material between the blood and the circulatory system. Okay, then okay, understand about this thing. Open and the closed circulatory system. I revise again. See, two type of the blood circulatory system. One is the which one? Okay, open circulation. Second is the which one? Closed circulation. Open circulatory example, arthropod. Closed circulatory example, human are included in a chordate. Okay, then vertebrates also. So in all vertebrate, which type of the circulation is present? Closed circulatory system is present. In invertebrates also, the closed circulatory system is present. Example, annelida and the mollusca. Then, if we compare the open and the closed circulatory system, in an open circulatory system, the blood flow in a body cavity. And what is the name of the body cavity? Hemocoel cavity. Remember this word? Hemocoel. This word we study in a animal kingdom also. Then, in a closed circulatory system, blood flow in a blood vessel. In the body, common example we take are the body in this chapter. Okay, the body fluid, blood flow in the blood vessel. Next one. In an open circulation, the blood flow in a low pressure. Blood flow in a low pressure. If you remember in a structural organization in animal, we study the cockroach also. So we study the cockroach, 13 chambers heart is present. Okay, so that's why what happened? The one source not they pump the blood. That's why the pressure is a very low. But in our body, heart forcefully pump the blood. Okay, that's why the pressure is exerted on the tip of the artery also. That's why in a closed circulatory system, what happened? The too much pressure is created. It means the blood flow in a high pressure. In case of the open circulatory system, in a blood do not contain any respiratory pigment. Okay, but in case of the closed circulatory system, what happened? Respiratory pigment is present. If we take the example of the vertebrate, it means our body. In our body, which pigment is present? Hemoglobin, right? Okay, and in case of the mollusca, in the animal kingdom we study in case of the mollusca, which pigment is present? Hemocyanin, and in a hemocyanin contain the copper containing pigment. Hemocyanin is a which containing? Copper containing pigment. That's why in a mollusca organism we study the blue clear blood is present. Up to here you understand? Okay. Then, so next one we study particularly in a closed circulatory system is divided into the two types. Next we study about the closed. In this chapter, in a briefly I explain you closed circulatory system. So closed circulatory system is of the two types. The one is known as the single circulation, and the second type of the circulation is known as the double circulation. Okay, single circulation. So single circulation, first I give the example because already we studied the example of the single circulation in animal kingdom, fishes. In fishes we study closed circulatory system is present, single circulation. Okay, so in a single circulation is present in a vertebrates, and the vertebrates, in which vertebrates we study? Example, Pisces, or either we write the fishes. Okay, because in a fish we study two chamber heart is present. How many chamber? One auricle and the one ventricle is present. So in case of the single circulation, in a cycle, okay, blood once enter in a heart. Okay, for example, a heart pump the blood. Okay, they enter into the gills for the purification. After the purification, the purified blood again not enter into the heart. Not enter into the heart. So that one is known as the single circulation. So during the single circulation, only one time blood enter into the heart, this type of the circulation is known as the single circulation. Okay, then the inner double circulation, during the cycle, the blood enter twice in a heart. One time enter in a oxygenated form, another time enter in a same cycle in a deoxygenated form. And double circulation example, birds and mammal. Example is a which one? Birds, or either we write the apes and mammals. Okay. Understand single and the double circulation? So in a single circulation, particularly what happened? Blood once enter into heart during each cycle. But in a blood double circulation, during each cycle, blood enter twice in heart. Okay, this one is known as the double circulation. And single circulation example is the fishes. So fish heart, in case of the fish, what happened? Here the one auricle is present, one ventricle is present, two chambered heart is present. This is the auricle, this is the ventricle. So ventricle pump the deoxygenated blood. Ventricle pump the which blood? Deoxygenated blood. When the heart pump the deoxygenated blood, that type of the heart is known as a venous heart. So here, so which type of the heart is present in a Pisces? Venous heart. So what is the meaning of the venous heart? When the heart pump the deoxygenated blood, it is happening in a which way? Single circulation, Pisces. So during the each cycle, only one time the blood enter into the heart, and deoxygenated blood enter into the atria, then enter into the ventricle. Ventricle pump the deoxygenated blood, and this deoxygenated blood enter into the gills for a purification. Gills give the oxygenated blood to the body part, and again body give the deoxygenated blood to the heart. This type of the circulation is known as the single circulation. So in case of the Pisces, okay, remember this word also. Heart pump deoxygenated blood, that's why this is known as the which type of the heart? Venous heart. Remember this term properly. Okay, next we are doing the double circulation. Double circulation means during each cycle, two times same type of the blood enter. Okay, during each cycle, same cycle of the blood is enter. This is known as the double circulation. So double circulation best example is a which one? Yes, human body. Second example is a which one? Birds. Next, in reptiles. If you remember in a kingdom Animalia we study three chambered heart present in reptile, two auricle and one ventricle is present. But except the crocodile, what we study in a crocodile? Four chambered heart is present. Even in an alligator also we study four chambered heart is present. So in case of the crocodile, alligator, which type of the circulation is present? Double circulation. Why in this reptile the double circulation? Because they have the four chambered heart. In case of the amphibia, if you remember in the structural organization in a frog portion, we study incomplete double circulation. Which type? Incomplete double circulation present in amphibians. Okay, here our kingdom Animalia, even the frog portion, even our the cockroach portion circulatory system is also revived. Okay, so in a closed circulatory system is divided into the two type of the circle. Which one? Single circulation and double circulation. Single circulation means past device again. Yes, blood once enter into the heart during each cycle. Okay, for example, body give the deoxygenated blood enter into the auricle, then enter into the ventricle. Ventricle pump the deoxygenated blood enter into the gills for the purification. Gills give the oxygenated blood to the body. After that, body give the again deoxygenated blood. So here what happened? Only deoxygenated blood is entered into the heart. So that one is known as the single circulation. In case of the Pisces, deoxygenated blood pumped by the heart, that type of the heart is known as the venous heart. Okay. Now, if we see in a double circulation, so double circulation, Here too, one time the blood enter in the form of the deoxygenated, second time it is enter in the form of the oxygenated blood. So when the during the double circulation, when the heart pump deoxygenated blood, heart pump the which blood? Deoxygenated blood. Okay, they give the heart give the deoxygenated blood to lungs for purification. Okay, then again lungs give the oxygenated blood to the heart. This type of the circulation is known as the pulmonary circulation. Okay, which way? Here now only you remember the word, because this pulmonary circulation you will you understand very well when I explain you the heart structure completely. So heart give the deoxygenated blood to the lungs for which purpose? Purification. Okay. So this type of the circulation is known as the pulmonary circulation. So in a double circulation, the second which event is happened when the heart give the oxygenated blood. Which type of the blood? Oxygenated blood to the body. Okay. Then body in return give the blood which type? Deoxygenated blood. So this type of the circulation is known as the systematic circulation. Which type of the circulation? Systematic circulation. So in our body, double circulation is present. That double circulation is composed of two types of the circulation. One is the pulmonary, second one is known as the systematic circulation. So pulmonary circulation means when the heart give the deoxygenated blood to lungs for the purification. This type of the circulation is pulmonary circulation. And the second one is the when heart give and pump the oxygenated blood to the body. Okay, this type of the circulation is known as the systematic circulation. Okay, up to here you understand? Yes or no? So we study in a special fluid, two type of the fluid, blood and the lymph. Particularly in a higher organism, two type of the blood circulatory system is present. One is the open, second one is the closed. Closed circulatory system is composed of divided into the two type. Which one? Single circulation, double circulation. Single circulation example Pisces. Double circulation example birds and mammal. But in case of the reptile, crocodile, alligator, they also have the double circulation. In a double circulation, particularly here the one type is the pulmonary circulation, second type is the systematic circulation. Pulmonary circulation means when the blood flow between the heart to the lungs and lungs to the heart. This is the pulmonary circulation. Systematic circulation means particularly when the blood flow between heart to the body and body to the heart. This type of the circulation is systematic circulation. Okay, up to here you understand? Okay. Then next we study particularly in a body fluid in the circulation, we study about the human blood vascular system. Okay. Then the next one we study the circulatory system in human. Circulatory system in human, it means our body circulatory system. Then even in our foundation classes also you study about the circulatory system of human. Then so our circulatory, so now give me the answer. Our circulatory system is composed of how many different things? Yes, how many different things is present in our circulatory system? Next we study human circulatory system. Please give me the answer because you know the very well. Yes, human circulatory system. So in our body, two type of the fluid we previously studied. Two type of the fluid is present. One is the blood, one is the lymph. So in a one system blood is flow, another system, yes, lymph is formed. So in our human circulatory system, how many types of the system is present? Yes, two types. One is known as the blood vascular system and second type is known as the lymphatic system. Second type is the which one? lymphatic system. So blood vascular system. So first we study the which thing? First we study about the blood vascular system. So blood vascular system is a consist of three different things. The first one is known as the blood. Second one is the heart. Third one is the blood vessels. Okay. So our body blood vascular system is consist of three different things. Which one? Blood, heart, and the blood vessels. Okay. Now later we study about the lymphatic system. First we study about the blood vascular system. Okay. And even this thing you study in the foundation classes also, if you remember. Okay. So blood vascular system, first one blood, second one heart, and the third one is the blood vessel is present. So first we study about the blood. Okay. The first we study about the which thing? Blood. Study of blood. Okay. Now tell me. If you remember in a cell chapter we study, particularly study of the cell is known as a cytology. Then in a previous chapter excretion we study of nephron is known as the nephrology also. In nervous system you study the neurology. So when we study about the blood, for example, if we are suffering to the any disease, so what happened? The doctor give us, please do the blood test also. To the blood test we easily identify the our particular disease also. So when we study the blood, so study of blood is known as the hematology. Hem means the blood. Logy means study. The study of blood is known as the hematology. What is the color of the blood? We study here about the vertebrate. So that's why what is the color of the blood? It is the red color. Okay. The next one. Origin. Origin means which germ layer? In an animal kingdom we study our body is a diploblastic. Diploblastic means three germ layer is formed. What is the name of the germ layer? Fast revise again. Ectoderm, endoderm and the mesoderm. So which layer origin the blood? Yes, it is the mesoderm layer. Which layer? Mesoderm. So what is the origin of the blood? Mesodermal origin. Embryonic mesodermal origin also we say, only we say the mesodermal origin also. Okay. Then pH of the blood is 7.4. 7.4 means the slightly alkaline in nature. Okay. Because in our blood some organic substance, inorganic substance, protein, different thing is present. That's why the blood is the slightly alkaline. In a chemistry also you study about the buffer solution. Okay. Then so our blood is also work as a buffer. Okay. Then, so here the pH of the blood is the 7.4. It is a slightly alkaline in nature. Then, in an adult, the volume of the blood is 4 to 6 liter. Okay. Minimum is a 4, maximum is the 6 liter. But some book they mention only the 5 liter. In your NCERT also they mention the which one? It is the 5 liter blood is present in a normal adult human. Okay. The next one, the blood is heavier than water. Blood is the heavier. Why it is heavier than water? Because in our the blood proteins are present. Which is present? Some protein, different particularly salt is also present. That's why they have the heavier than water. This is the some introductory. The study of blood is hematology. What is the color of your blood? Yes, or red color. Origin mesoderm. pH of the blood 7.4. Sorry, has slightly alkaline. In an adult, what is the volume of the blood? Normally, in your, according to your NCERT, it is a 5 liter. When we read the some book, they mention the 4 to the 6 liter. When the particularly board is changed, they particularly in a different book they mention. And it is a heavier than water also. Understand this thing? Please note down. The study of blood is a hematology. This point origin is also important. pH and the adult is the range. It is a 5 liter is present. Okay. Then our blood perform the three main function. In our body, the blood is present. So what is the main function of the blood? The first function of the blood, transport. How they perform the transport? We eat the food molecule. After the digestion, over the small intestine, the digested food transfer into the whole body. So who involved in the transportation? Blood. Okay. Then we intake the oxygen. We intake the oxygen to the environment, enter into the lungs. Lungs to the whole body who transfer? Yes, particularly blood is transferred. Okay. Now next thing, particularly in our body in a different places, particularly amino acid is a breakdown. So that amino acid is a filter in our the kidney also. So who help in a filtration of the blood, particularly yes, blood is involved. The second function, the first function is the transport of nutrient, transport of respiratory gases, transport of all the things present in our body. Okay. The next function of the body, particularly protection. Now you are thinking how the blood perform the protection function. If you remember in a blood foundation classes we study, in a blood WBC cell is present. What is the function of the WBC? Protect the body. It means form the immune system or the defense system. So that's why the function is the protection. WBC cell is present. The next one they maintain the homeostasis balance also. Okay. Then this is the main function of our body. It means maintain our the blood volume and other function also, body temperature also regulated by the blood. Tell me the one thing, in an animal kingdom we study blood maintain the body temperature. Two type of the organism we study. One we study poicothum and another one we study the homeothum. So we are included in a which type? Yes, warm blooded. It means the homeothum. So who maintain the body temperature also? Blood is included. So what is the function of the blood? Transport, protection and homeostasis. Then our blood is made up of the two main components. So next we study the component of blood. So blood is composed of the two main things. One is known as the plasma and the second one is known as the formed elements. Formed elements means blood cells. Formed element means that we said blood cells. Okay, then total blood, our whole blood is made up of the two main things. Which one? Plasma and the formed element. It means the blood cell part is known as the formed element. So 55% blood constituted by the plasma. How many percentage? Plasma form the 55% part of the blood is formed by the plasma. It means how many is remain? 45%. This is also the PYQ question. I think in 2015 they asked this question. So our blood is composed of the two main components. Which one? Plasma and formed element. Formed element means the blood cell. Plasma constitute 55% and the blood cell constitute the 45%. In our body, please give me the answer. In our body, how many types of the blood cell is present? Everyone know? Yes, the first one is known as the RBC. Second one is known as the WBC. And the third blood cell is known as the platelets are present. Every blood cell perform the specific function. Okay. To form, how many types of the blood cell is present in our body? Three types. Which were? RBC, WBC and the third one is the platelets. Okay. This is the PYQ question also. Which were? Plasma and the blood. I think in 2025 they asked. Okay, the component of blood. So our blood is composed of how many components? Yes, two. Which one? Plasma. Second one is the blood cells, or blood cell is also known as a formed element. So plasma constitute 55% and the blood cell constitute the 45%. How many types of the blood cell is present? Three types. Which one? RBC, WBC and the platelet. And every blood cell they perform the specific function. So first we study about the RBC. First we study about the which way? RBC. Wait. RBC. Okay. RBC, it is known as the erythrocytes. It is known as the erythro. What is the meaning of the erythro? Erythro means the red. Erythro means the red. Cyte word is related to the cyte. Cyte word we study in a cell chapter also. It means the cell. So erythro means the red. Cyte means the cell. The red cell is known as RBC. Okay, erythrocyte means the red blood cell. Okay, then first we study about the red blood cell. So in a red blood cell, it means the RBC, most abundant cell. RBC is the which type? Most abundant blood cell. Okay, just we study how many types of the blood cell? 3 types. Which one? RBC, WBC and the platelet. Out of these 3, more percentage of the blood cell is present the which one? Erythrocyte and the RBC. So that's why most abundant blood cell is the RBC. The next we study the shape of the RBC. The shape of the RBC is the biconcave and circular. And shape of the RBC we already studied in a cell chapter also. If you remember in a 3rd page of the cell chapter in your NCERT, the different shape diagram is given. In that diagram the shape of the RBC is also mentioned. So what is the shape of the RBC? Biconcave and circular. Then in this next point is a very important. RBC is enucleated. Enucleated means nucleus is absent. In other term we are saying devoid of nucleus. It means the nucleus is not present. Enucleated means in simple term we are saying nucleus absent. Nucleus absent. But in a mammal, camel, in case of the camel and lemur, in these 2 mammals the nucleus is present. Okay, then the enucleated means nucleus is absent. The next one, in a RBC some membrane bound cell organelle is also absent. Membrane bound cell organelles. And which cell organelle is absent? The first cell organelle is mitochondria. Second cell organelle, endoplasmic reticulum. Third cell organelle, Golgi complex. And the next cell organelle, lysosome. Okay, membrane bound cell organelle concept you know the very well because in a cell chapter we study. So in a RBC, which thing is absent? Nucleus, mitochondria, endoplasmic, Golgi complex and lysosome. Mitochondria and nucleus is double membrane bound structure. ER, Golgi complex and lysosome, they are the single membrane bound structure. Even in a particularly cell chapter also before study, they form the endomembrane system also. In an endomembrane system, endoplasmic reticulum, Golgi complex, lysosome and vacuole is included. Okay, then formation of RBC. When the RBC form in our body, this process is known as the erythropoiesis. It is known as the which process? Erythropoiesis. Remember the one term also. All the blood cells, when the blood cells form in our body, it means the RBC, WBC and platelet. So this collectively known as the hemopoiesis. It is collectively known as the hemopoiesis. Hem means blood. Hem means the blood. Poiesis means formation of cell. So when the blood cell is formed, if we are saying only blood cell, so what we are saying? Hemopoiesis. But if we are saying the RBC formation, so what we are saying? erythropoiesis. So erythropoiesis is meant the formation of RBC is known as the erythropoiesis. And for the erythropoiesis, the different organ is present, even the different particular system. So in an adult, the erythropoiesis process is happen in red bone marrow. In an adult, it is happen where? Red bone marrow. In a structural organization, we study two types of the bone marrow is present. One is known as the red bone marrow. Second one is known as the yellow bone marrow. And in an adult, this red bone marrow, it is present specifically the which bone? Femur bone. Okay. Now here you remember the femur bone. In the next chapter, locomotion and movement, we study about the femur. So femur bone present in the thigh region. Okay. And the specialty of the femur bone is longest and strongest bone in our body. So erythropoiesis in an adult is happen where? Bone marrow. Which bone? Marrow, femur bone. What is the location of the femur bone? In a thigh region. What is the specialty of the femur bone? Strongest and longest bone. Okay. And erythropoiesis process happen in a fetus. One organ is a spleen, liver, and second one is known as the spleen. Okay. The next, for the erythropoiesis, particularly in a previous chapter also we studied like in a excretion, the hormonal control. Then so here the erythropoiesis is also the hormonal control. So which hormone is involved? This is also the PYQ. Okay, erythropoietin. Which hormone? Erythropoietin hormone is responsible for the erythropoiesis process, and this erythropoietin hormone is secreted by kidney. In a previous chapter also we studied kidney secrete the erythropoietin hormone, and which cell of the kidney? Juxtaglomerular cell secrete the erythropoietin. So erythropoietin hormone is responsible for the erythropoiesis, and this is also the PYQ question. Okay. So which hormone is responsible for the erythropoiesis? Yes, erythropoietin, secreted by the which organ? Kidney. Okay. The next one, the lifespan of RBC. Everyone know this is a very common question. So what is the lifespan? Yes, 120 days. What is the lifespan of the RBC? 120. If the 120 days is complete, it means the RBC is the breakdown. Breakdown of RBC is known as the hemolysis. So worn out RBC, okay, or dead RBC, so it is happen where? In a spleen. Which organ is involved? It is also the PYQ question. It is also the PYQ. So worn out or after the 120 days of the RBC is complete, after that the RBC is a breakdown. This is known as a hemolysis. Particularly it is happening in which organ? Spleen. And spleen is involved. And in a fetus what we study? They involve in erythropoiesis. In adult also spleen is involved in a which one? After the 120 days, the particularly the RBC worn out and removed to the body through the spleen. It is also the PYQ question. Then next one we study. The next point is related to the total count of RBC in adult. In your NCERT they mention 5 to 5.5 million per mm³. Okay, it is mentioned the which way? 5 to 5.5. But the RBC ratio is a higher, volume of the RBC is higher in a male as compared to the female. Why this thing is happen? Because in an adult erythropoiesis is happen, in a male body also erythropoiesis is happen in a red bone marrow, in female body also erythropoiesis is happen where? In a red bone marrow. Even in our female also the kidney secrete the hormone which one? Erythropoietin. In male also, female also, if the same thing is happened, why the ratio is changed? The main reason of that one, because in a male body androgen is secreted by the testes. That androgen also stimulates the erythropoiesis. Okay. So why in a particularly, why? Listen the question properly and give me that. why the volume of the RBC is higher in a male than the female. So what is the reason? In a male body, testes secrete the androgen. Okay, testes secrete the which hormone? Androgen. And this androgen concept we study particularly in a chemical control and integration also, or even in a particularly second year PU portion of human reproduction also it is a given. The total count of RBC is 5 to 5 million, 5 to 5.5 million. But in a male, normally 5 to 5.5 million is present in a male body. Okay, and in a female body, normally present 4.8 to 5 million per mm cube is present. And the volume of the ratio, listen to one thing, volume and the ratio of the RBC is also known as the hemocrit. It is known as the hemocrit. It is not mentioned in your NCERT, but I am telling you. Okay, this is known as the hemocrit. Then next one, then next we study after the 120 days. Up to here you understand or not? Okay, most abundant blood cell RBC, shape biconcave and circular. RBC is enucleated. Enucleated means nucleus is absent. Membrane bound cell organelle is absent in RBC. Which one? Mitochondria, ER, Golgi complex and lysosome. Formation of RBC is known as the erythropoiesis. Erythropoiesis happen in an adult where red bone marrow. What is the name of the bone? Femur. In a fetus, the erythropoiesis happen liver and spleen. Which hormone is responsible for the erythropoiesis? Erythropoietin, and it is secreted by the kidney. Lifespan of the RBC is a 120 days. After the 120 days, the worn out RBC is in hemolysis is happened where? In a spleen. It is also the PYQ. Total count of RBC 5 to 5.5 million. But the volume of RBC is higher in a male than the female. Okay, next point is related to the one. RBC contain respiratory pigment. RBC contain the which pigment? Respiratory pigment. And the name of the respiratory pigment is known as the hemoglobin. What is the name? Hemoglobin. And near about in each RBC approximately 270 million hemoglobins. In each erythrocyte, how many RBC particularly present hemoglobin? 270 million hemoglobin is present. Hemoglobin carry the respiratory gases oxygen and carbon dioxide. So what is the function of the RBC? Yes, transport and carry, or either we are saying carry respiratory gases. Which respiratory gases? Oxygen and carbon dioxide. So here in a particularly in a hemoglobin contain the in a RBC, how many hemoglobin is present? 270 million RBC is present. Hemoglobin is made up of the two parts. Hemoglobin is made up of two parts. One is the heme group is present and second one is the globin. Globin is the protein. And in a hemo, this globin is made up of 4 polypeptide chain. How many polypeptide chain? 4 polypeptide chain is present. 2 is the alpha chain and 2 is the beta chain is present. Hemoglobin. How many hemoglobin? 1 Hb. 1 hemoglobin. They carry the 4 oxygen molecules. They carry the how many oxygen molecules? 4 oxygen molecules. This concept we study in a breathing also. Okay. So 1 hemoglobin, they carry the how many oxygen molecule? 4 oxygen molecule. When the hemoglobin combined with oxygen, this is known as the oxyhemoglobin. Okay, this is known as the oxyhemoglobin. But the hemoglobin carry the CO2. They carry the CO2. This is known as the carb-aminohemoglobin. Carb-aminohemoglobin means, yes, heme group not involved. The globin chain is made up of the protein. Protein means the amino acid. So carbon dioxide, they are combined with a residue of amino acid and they form the carb amino hemoglobin. Okay, the next thing, an important part, lifespan what we study, 120 days. After the 120 days, the hemolysis is happen. And hemolysis is happening in which organ? Yes, in a spleen. When the RBC is the breakdown, it means the hemoglobin is also the breakdown. So in a hemoglobin, the heme part is stored in the liver in the form of the ferritin. In the form of the which one? In the form of the ferritin. And globin chain is made up of the amino acid. So they recycle. It is not breakdown. It is a recycle. It means again used for the formation of new hemoglobin remaining. And in this hemoglobin, the ferritin, heme, it means the iron. Iron is stored in a liver in the form of the ferritin. In the hemoglobin, the porphyrin ring is present. This porphyrin ring is breakdown into the liver and they involved in the formation of bilirubin and biliverdin pigment. But majorly the which pigment? Red orange bilirubin pigment, and they remove toward the fecal matter also. Okay, so this portion also, the PYQ's question is also asked. Okay, hormone based. The next one PYQ they ask related to the absent of this one, and then next they ask the worn out RBC and the spleen. It means the PYQ's question. Okay, you have any doubt in this portion? If you have any doubt, please ask me. Yes.